You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth is he doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. I feel it. Feel it, you feel it?
It's a faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup celebrating nearly 50 years of Doctor Who universe. Hold tight. You never know where the TARDIS is going next.
Who are you?
I'm glad you asked that again. Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe. Now please, get off this planet while you still have a choice.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Earth Station Who podcast. That's right, folks. We are going back to the classic series this time, and we are going way back. We're going back to 1965 to be exact, when we are looking at the Time Meddler. It's interesting because it's the first time the Doctor has met anyone from his race on the TV show, and it's also a couple other firsts, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But let's introduce our crew for this week. Of course, we have the lovely and talented Mary Ogle.
Hi, everybody. It is great to be here.
How are you, Mary?
I'm pretty good. I'm looking forward to talking about this one.
Is this the first time you've seen it?
Oh, yes. It is definitely the first time. I haven't seen a lot of Hartnell.
It's interesting because it's my first time also. And let's find out if this man has seen it before. He's a wizened old Doctor Who fan, so he's probably, seen many of them that we haven't seen yet. Let's welcome Mr. Mike Gordon.
Howdy. I was like, who's he talking about? I didn't know we had a guest on this week. Yeah, I've seen less Doctor Who than either one of you. So, and I made it when I pulled up BritBox to pull this story up. I was amazed at how little of First Doctor stories we've actually done that are still available to watch. I mean, we've covered a few, but there's still quite a number of out there that exist that we can watch. So, oh
yeah, and we will, because God knows when Doctor Who's coming back.
Yeah, we've got the time.
Exactly.
But it is kind of too bad that nobody. We usually when we have guests on and they talk about their favorite episodes, their favorite stories and whatnot, seldom does the First Doctor come up.
No, it's interesting that, very few people do come on the show and say, I really love the Hartnell era. It defined the show. It made me love Doctor Who. No, we don't get that. Unless the person's really old, and they watched it originally. Sorry to put it that way, but wow. Okay. Before I dig myself a hole even deeper, please leave us feedback, and you can leave me feedback on that comment. Please write us at earthstationwho@esonetwork.com. We definitely would love to hear from you guys. Let's give also a quick shout out to our patrons. Thank you guys for continued support. You can definitely find our patron at patreon.com/ESOnetwork. And for as little as 25 cents a week, you can help support this show and all the other shows on the ESO network also. So it is a true plus. So it's very good to do that. So we do have no Doctor Who news this week.
I can't believe it.
Well, the biggest Doctor Who news that actually even came close to really thrilling is Chris Eccleston is on the convention tour right now, and he is going to tour after tour after tour. I think he's, accepting his Doctor Who past finally, and he is going to be at Gallifrey this year.
Yay.
Well, 2020, but, it's technically this year, it's the next one. So
this coming Gallifrey.
Exactly. So he is going to be the headlining guest, and that's pretty awesome for folks who definitely want to go see. And I know there are tickets still available. It hasn't sold out yet. Hotel might be a little more difficult, but you definitely could get tickets still for Gallifrey 1. And folks, if you're a Doctor Who fan, definitely it's worth going. it's a great con, being with people like-minded, and Mary and I actually met for the very first time at that con.
That's very true.
So it was an adventure, and it was seeing friends, and we got to see the War Doctor in the In-N-Out drive-thru. So it was pretty awesome. And it wasn't even a cosplayer. It was actually him. So it was pretty awesome.
Everybody loves In-N-Out.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. I've had conversations like that for yesterday, even at the con we were at. We were talking about different hot dog places and hamburger places around the country, and In-N-Out always comes up. So it was pretty cool. So it was interesting to hear, and I just hope those who do go to Gallifrey, please, say to Chris and go, thank you for bringing Doctor Who back. He has tried to distance himself, but now he's coming back in the fold. And I'm going to come out and say this now, and I will gladly have egg on my face for this one. I predict Chris Eccleston is going to be at Dragon Con 2020. That's my Doctor Who prediction for the day.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Well, it kind of makes sense. They've been going backwards with the doctors each year, kind of sort of. So, I definitely think, they had Tenet this year, so 9 makes the most sense. And, I know the folks at BritTrax don't have any control on who they get for guests or anything, but if they have a little pull, I think Chris would be a great get for the con.
So you think we might get, now is he touring by himself, or he's not doing any events with with Rose, right? With Billy?
No.
Gotcha.
It's all him. I had friends actually who got to meet him about 2.5 weeks ago over at the convention in Portland, Oregon. I think it was Rose City Con, and he was a guest there. And,
that was appropriate.
Yeah, no pun intended. So I thought
intend
it was pretty
the
awesome.
pun.
I know.
Own it.
Live the pun. I know. It's the punster is here. It's good. It's great. But other than that, nothing new on the new series. They did reveal a new pop figure that's going to be exclusive for Doctor Who at New York City Comic-Con next weekend. You're getting a Tim Shaw.
Why? All the ones they could have chosen.
I am shocked it was Tim Shaw, truthfully.
I am shocked it wasn't Graham.
Yeah. I could see that.
How have we not got a Graham pop figure yet?
I am floored. He should have been the first one out, truthfully.
We should have Graham everything.
I know we're having 3 new ones coming out, including the Kablam guy is going to be coming out. And the Doctor wearing the goggles and such from when she was building the sonic screwdriver.
Now that's cool.
That one was pretty awesome.
And then the other Dalek, right?
Yeah, the Dalek one is the third one coming out. But those aren't exclusives. They're just coming out. I think they're supposed to be out in November, if I remember correctly. So definitely look for them. And they'll be right under your Christmas tree, whatever you guys have. I don't know.
So no Graham in my stocking.
Nope. Well, that's a different story, Mike. We could arrange that. I'm sure he'd be glad to show up on Christmas Day for you.
Something you want to tell us?
No, what Graham in my stocking?
He'll be home for Christmas. Wow. Oh.
I mean, he's everywhere else.
So why not in your stocking?
Exactly.
That must be a hell of a size of a stocking, Mikey.
Well, he's actually in real life much smaller than he appears on TV.
It's those darn special effects. I know. But that's awesome, though. So, so New York Comic Con, folks, you will get Doctor Who. And so it should be interesting. Still nothing about a holiday special. So it's already, as of this recording, the beginning of October. If we haven't heard anything yet, I don't think we're going to get it.
This is just really disappointing. I mean, I don't understand why the BBC is just kind of letting it go.
Mm-hmm. They should have at least done a holiday special to whet the people's appetite for the upcoming season or something. Because they ended last holiday season with a great story. It was one of the better ones of the season.
I agree.
And to just continue off that for the goodwill, and for us podcasters who would love to have something new.
Anything. A webisode.
It would have been great. It would have been awesome. But
that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a BBC special, an all Graham Christmas.
Dude, I was trying to drink there. That's just not fair.
A very Graham holiday.
Graham Christmas.
Oh God. Wow. It's going to be one of those episodes tonight, folks. We really, it's just...
They're all going to dress up into a variety show.
Mm-hmm.
Graham will be the star.
Well, I was going to say we'd all dress as Graham, of course.
I understand, because I've said some comments online and whatnot that people think I hate Bradley Walsh, and that is not true.
Oh,
I don't even hate Graham. I just, we've said it, when we did our reviews of the episodes last year. I just thought that he was used too much, and actually, I can make a great case for him that character shouldn't even be on the show. But I certainly really, really love, Bradley is doing a great job with what he's been given, and I'm all for him, really. But it's just, yeah, and it's just fun.
I've never once thought you disliked Bradley Walsh at all. And because you even come out and say that, during the reviews last season, it was just they wanted a strong white male, to back up the Doctor.
Yeah. And it's not his fault that he's like a white male.
Exactly.
No, there's nothing wrong with Bradley Walsh. He's great. And the character is great. It's that the character took over the show. Yes.
And I think, some people, I think when we had Alan on and some other guests, they're like, oh, wow, we've become the anti-Graham podcast. And I certainly, I'm pro-Graham all the way. But, less is more, right?
Yes.
Yeah, less Graham, more other companions, whatever their names are.
just more Doctor.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's interesting, I would love to say, hey, this is how we could have done Doctor Who better or different. And, everyone has their own opinion, but, I think, I want him to have Jodie's time to shine, truthfully. That's the big thing with it.
And Jodie's fantastic. I mean, when she's given something to do, she does an amazing job.
Oh, very much so.
Given enough to do.
No, you're not hearing an argument at all from that. And I definitely think I think they showed, especially in the holiday special, how powerful she can be if she has the room to do it. And because I felt like Graham was pushed a little bit into the background in that one. And, they focused a lot on Ryan and his dad. And, Yaz was wherever.
Yeah, poor Yaz is always kind
wherever
of ignored. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
well, I do think it's telling that, when they issued out the pop figures and a lot of the marketing, I think Jodie is really well represented. I mean, there's tons of Doctor merchandise that she's depicted in, but the companions are not. So as much as marketing wise, they seem to have a lot of faith in Jodie as the Doctor. I don't think they really have any confidence in the companions right now, marketing wise.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well,
no.
I think that has a lot to do with the writing. But I was hopeful after the holiday special.
Me too.
That seemed like going in the right direction.
Well, you have, from the new series, you have all the companions made into pop figures. You even have a Roman Rory, but you don't have any of the new Doctor companions.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Well, then again, you also don't have Bill or Nardo. So, Take that for what you will.
Yeah.
And look, they haven't even finished doing I don't understand why they are not issuing out more doctors, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Why we're getting Tim Shaw and not the third Doctor.
Or the second Doctor.
Or yes.
The fifth Doctor, the sixth Doctor. Well, sixth Doctor maybe, but seventh or eighth.
But yeah, Tim Shaw, come on.
Oh, wouldn't it be awesome to have a seventh Doctor and Ace pop figure set?
Yes, it would.
That would be really awesome.
Ace with a little baseball bat?
Exactly.
Yes, or a little Nitro 9.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. She would have to have the backpack with her, of course, So I think that would be really awesome. And no, we don't want a Perry pop figure. That's all I'm saying. But then again, I would love a Jamie and Zoe pop figures with the second Doctor. Would be really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Or, have Sarah Jane, since you already have her from the fourth Doctor era, have Sarah Jane in the third Doctor. Or Liz Shaw, or the second or the third Doctor with the Brigadier. That would be awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't understand why how they decide what they decide to make pop figures of, but there's a little bit of work to be done there, and I don't think we should attach anything to, what they're marketing, just because it just doesn't seem to make any sense.
Oh. Are you talking about BBC or are you talking about Pop?
Both actually. Cause I don't know if they're just thinking, these pop figures that are exclusive to New York Comic-Con are going to be so exclusive that we could just put anything out and people would buy it. And yet, sure enough, here comes Tim Shaw. So we'll test that theory. If you see, in about 3 weeks, if you see Tim Shaw pop figures on eBay going for $200-$300, it's wow, they're right. But if you see people going,
they're going to be $2, $3.
That or people giving away for free,
$2
Tim Shaw with purchase.
$2 free shipping.
We will pay you to take the Tim Shaw picture.
Exactly.
Wow. All right.
They're going to be trouble marketing because there really wasn't a breakout monster in this season.
No. With every pop figure you buy at the Big Bad Toy Store, you get a free Tim Shaw figure.
We won't let you in the store unless you agree to take a Tim Shaw figure.
Yeah, I can't think of anything. And so we're getting 2 figures from this season that just of quote unquote villains that I think just seem forced because they just don't feel like they've deserved to have pop figures.
Yeah, I don't think they knew what to do because there just wasn't a breakout figure.
No, there wasn't.
Besides Jody
and Graham.
Yeah, the Graham ones would sell through the roof. I don't understand. They're just giving it. They're just they're just turning away money.
That's what I keep on saying. Wow, that's really sad. Really, really sad. So, as you can tell, we're stalling for time because we want to fill somewhat of this episode up.
Because we never have any news. It's so sad.
Yeah, no news. So, might as well just jump in with both feet into the episode. And let's go ahead and review, of course, the wonderful Time Meddler from 1965.
Ooh.
I think it's good. It was interesting because this was all of our first time watching this one, and so it was pretty cool to see, everything that was going on because this goes back. Thank goodness it was only 4 parts. That's the first part. I was worried because some of those first Doctor stories, go fairly long, but then again, they just came off a huge story line with the chase, which was Ian and Barbara's last storyline. And so we get Vicky and you get introduced to Steven.
Now, do you know if the chase introduced those two?
Vicky was with it before.
Okay, so because it seemed like Vicky in this, it did seem like Vicky had a little bit more experience. Yeah, because Steve didn't know anything about the TARDIS or the Doctor.
No, Stephen was a secondary character in the chase, and they thought he was killed, but he ended up in the TARDIS.
Yeah, it looked that way because he said he was hanging on the suddenly there was a knock at the door and he was hanging on the outside. Kind of reminiscent of because Captain Jack does that,
Actually, I think somehow he was inside the TARDIS. He was stuck wandering through the TARDIS.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, that's what it looked like because the doors he came through had doorknobs. If you notice, the doors to the TARDIS on the outside don't.
That makes a little bit more sense. Okay.
And everything, because he said he was hanging on a knob, and then there was a door in front of him, and he just went in, and he just kept on wandering and wandering.
Oh, okay. I wonder, that was unclear to me, too. I wasn't sure if he was hanging on to the outside or not.
Yeah.
So this is technically, a new companion, and who completely did not believe the whole thing about the time machine.
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think he believes it till like a second episode.
Or maybe third. Yeah. It takes him a while. He's a little slow on the uptake.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I've only seen, because I've seen the Gunfighters. That's the only other one I've seen with Stephen in. I've read the Target books with him in it, but I haven't. This is the first time other than the Gunfighters, that I've seen him in. And thank goodness we're not watching the Gunfighters, because him singing just,
Oh, he's a singer, is he?
Oh, yes, he is.
Didn't get that impression at all.
You won't from the Gunfighters either, sir. So it was interesting to watch this one. It was actually the first time they did a semi-historical one for Doctor.
Sort of a pseudo-historical.
Exactly, because they mixed in sci-fi with it. And because before this, all the historical ones were actually true, straight-up historical stories.
Yeah, and I think it worked. I mean, I like this episode. It was fun to watch, and Peter Butterworth was great.
There were some interesting moments. I want to dial back just a little bit to the first few minutes where, they're sort of acknowledging that that the other two companions are gone, right? And it's just the first Doctor and Vicky, and they sort of, he's like, come here, and they sort of have this little bonding moment, which is nice. I can't ever recall me personally ever seeing the first Doctor have a bond like that with somebody.
He's very fatherly.
Yeah, and he's very fatherly towards her, and then when Steve bursts in, he's kind of like, damn it. I don't think he's trying to make time with Vicky or anything like that, but it's like it's almost like it's just going to be you and me. This is going to be nice because it really hasn't been me and just a female companion, or just a companion like the two of us for a while now, not since this show started, and it's going to be really nice. And then all of a sudden Steve burst in and he's like, crap, like
deal with another one.
Exactly. He's like, oh well, but I mean, he's all up for it. He doesn't try to hit him with a rock or anything.
No, thank God.
He saves that for later.
So that was good.
But I loved it. He went, that's the time rotor, that's the stabilizer, that's the chair, sit in it. And it was just like, oh, okay, Doc. And I loved how he was calling him Doc. And
yeah, he didn't like that.
He's not happy about that.
I thought it was really odd. Hartnell was too caring and too soft with Vicky. I've never seen Hartnell do that.
That's what I'm saying. He was like, that surprised me too. That was a tender moment from him, which we don't get. I didn't see a lot of that before. So this is the first time, as a first for me. And Vicky seems all right. I mean, she seems, capable enough. I mean,
yeah, she seemed competent. I mean, they actually get to do a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Very much so. And I thought, the companions were fine in this one. Vicky was a little whiny at parts, but so was Steven at parts. So, and, but he at least was knowledgeable, and, he was able to keep to his own when he beat up that first Saxon guy, in the wood, it's like, he didn't even go, "Hey, how's it going?" He just went up and started like fist ablazing, Yeah, exactly. And it was just like, oh, that's going to be a good first impression. So
yeah, I mean, Vicky kept saying she was tired, and that got old. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm. How many times have you heard a companion go, "I'm tired, doctor"? Exactly.
Doesn't she look tired?
That's about 40 years later, dude.
I know. But it starts here. No, just kidding.
I mean, it's actually, the plot is pretty simple. But it's okay. I mean, it works for the story. And Vicky and Steven do move the story along, and they actually get to interact with a lot of people and, meet the villagers and all of that. And the monk they go in and out of the monastery.
Yeah.
A lot of going in and out of the monastery.
Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth, and everybody just missing each other. And yeah, there was only 3 sets.
Yes. They just sort of wandered in between them the whole time.
It was pretty obvious there was only 3 sets, and they just wandered.
Well, 4 if you can count the TARDIS,
But you don't, because that was just in the first. That was just in the first episode. That was it.
No, he means the monks.
The monk's TARDIS was pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. It actually looked cleaner.
Yes, it did. Well, it's as the doctor said, it's 50 years newer, because that's a Mark IV TARDIS.
That's true. Well, I mean, like I said, I mean, his TARDIS looks like beat up. Like it's another, and this is only like the 3rd year, right? Or 2nd year?
This is the final, I think this is the final episode
of the second
season, yeah.
And that TARDIS looks like it's been through like 50 plus years of stuff. I mean, it looks beat up.
If you think about it, though, this, they didn't expect Doctor Who to last 3 seasons or 2.5 seasons,
Cost money to paint the TARDIS.
Exactly. Every time I see the Hartnell, console, I always expect it to come apart in his hands.
I'm sure it did a few times.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. And I liked it. I liked the thought, going in that the doctor's meeting the first time someone else from his race.
Yes.
And, somebody who, the doctor, all you knew about the doctor was that he had a time ship and that he was escaping his race, but they never said anything else at this point.
And they don't really say a lot more here. I mean, they kind of mention that, he's one of them, but there's nothing else. There's really I mean, obviously we have to wait much later until we actually get the name of the race and more information, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I think we mentioned in the last episode that it would take Terrence Dix to come up with a lot of that stuff. But it's just amazing to me how undefined this is. I mean, they're like, oh, we got to introduce somebody to go sort of up against him, sort of like a, villainous doctor, but they don't really give him much history. His motivations are kind of weak. And really, I mean, this would, the master's stuff later would make this plan look brilliant, but
yeah, well,
but it still seems kind of random.
I did feel a lot, though, that the monk was actually trying to better humanity. He was trying to speed things up. I don't know what kind of gain or anything, but he was trying, like I was saying, you could see Shakespeare on writing for TV. You could, all these, planes in the 1300s and, all these different things. And that wasn't all that bad. It wasn't, he just he was nudging history along. I'm sure there was some reason he wanted to, other than mischief and getting in the way, type thing.
Yeah, they didn't really discuss what his motivations were, and he wasn't considering the consequences of any of the changes.
No,
He was just
not
kind
at
of
all.
doing it because it amused him, because he just, felt like doing it. He didn't really take into consideration how it might ripple through time and hurt other people.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. No, and that's what I found really interesting. That it was just like, and I love how they kept on referring to it as his master plan.
Oh,
And, it was like, that would have been cool if they somehow were able to tie that together.
It's the master. Maybe it was the master all along.
this makes too much sense for a master plan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but I mean, certainly, yeah. I mean, he's going around collecting things from the past, and he's not above doing that. And we don't know what other damage he's done, because he's been around doing a lot. It almost seems like you get the impression, though, he kind of feels like he's stuck there for some reason. In the first part of it, you kind of feel like I felt like he was stuck there. But then later on, you find out that he could probably leave at any time. So
Exactly. It was kind of weird because he was so excited to see the TARDIS when it showed up. He was like, ooh, it's like, oh, did he need, like how it always was with the Master? Oh, I need something from the Doctor's TARDIS or something.
Yeah, that's what I felt like too. He was thinking, oh man, now I can get out of here.
Exactly. And he even went up tried to get into the Doctor's TARDIS, and he says, you keep your TARDIS locked? That's not very trusting of you, And it was just like, I thought the performances were great in this, though.
They were. I agree. Edith was good. The village woman was good. Peter Butterworth was great as the monk. I mean, he had this sort of nice comic edge to him. He
did. And he was threatening, but from like a very he had a comic's face, but he was very dangerous behind the eyes type thing. And I loved it when he captured the Doctor at the very end of the first episode. That was awesome. And everything. There's
a bumblingness to him that would really come into play maybe later with the second Doctor. In a lot of ways, he feels like more of a template for what the Doctor would be than Hartnell is.
No, you were exactly right. There was a few times while watching this, I felt like I was watching, Troughton completely. I felt like, his character was he was almost like, I had to look again. That's not Troughton, is it? Playing the role, because he had the bumblingness and the, ooh, hello, Doc,
Yes.
And
but the only thing I will say, he didn't have a moral center.
No, not at all. No, that not in that respect, but in some others, I just felt that that he, because he offered that alternative, and I also think that, I mean, you're talking about the performance and everything, and I think that's spot on, because I think he had some chemistry with Hartnell to the extent that, I've seen, like I said, I haven't seen a lot of Hartnell, and there was some really surprising moments to me in this. One was when he was tender with Vicky, and then later on, when he goes up against the monk, there is this really great one-on-one chemistry with them where they're trying to outdo one another, that I was like, this is awesome. For a Hartnell story, this is really up there for me. His performance, I thought, was amazing. I mean, you get, later on he starts messing up, and it seems like he's kind of tired of the role or whatever. But here it seems like he's energized by it. I mean, there's still a few mess ups, but it's live, whatever. That's the way that things were recorded then. But he said he has an energy to him that you don't see in the later ones.
Yeah, I agree. Hartnell is delightful here. He's just fun to watch.
And he seems like he's like the challenge of somebody going up against somebody like that, he is excited by.
Yeah, he's engaged. I mean, he is fully engaged.
Yeah.
It was the matching of wits between the two of them.
Yeah.
They were almost equals in a lot of ways. And I love, how he, ended up damaging I almost said the Master, but the monk's TARDIS.
Yeah. That was
brilliant.
That was awesome. because you think about it, prior to now, he's pretty much just gone up against people who, like, especially when they go back in time, of people who he does not feel like he's equal to, right? Or equal to him, rather, right? They're all his inferiors. I think this is the first time that I can recall that he engaged someone that he felt was equal to, or somewhat equal to, his intellect and capability.
Well, there were times that I felt like, on Hartnell, that the Daleks were the closest that were, equally, but they were just pure maniac,
Yeah, it's not the same.
No. Yeah, that's just
interaction.
Right. That's like fighting a hurricane.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Good point. That is true. And it was interesting because I did feel there was, they almost felt like, I hate to say it, that they were, they were admiring each other at different points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
And it was great to see that. And I loved it when Hartnell had the stick in the monk's back. Yeah.
Yes.
I have this pointed to you. And then when the monk turned around, he says, yes, I know it's a stick, but it could still hurt you a lot.
I know. It still worked. I was like, that, that was weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and he knocks a Viking out.
Yeah, the doctor got physical. It was awesome.
You go,
he didn't even
doctor.
have a rock with him. It was awesome.
He didn't need no stinking rock.
No. But it was cool to see, and I loved how, Vicky was able to figure out the secret passageway in the cell.
Mm-hmm. That was great.
And she's like, all old castles and monasteries have secret passages.
Don't know how you know that, but okay.
Exactly. So you say. So it was good. I have nothing bad to really say about this episode. It moved very quickly. I was shocked already when the first episode ended already. It was like, wait, this just started. What do you mean?
Yeah, it moved right along.
Well, you had that big preface, right? So you had the big preface where they're reintroducing them, and they're saying goodbye to the other companions. So you've got this like big 10-minute thing, and then so you've only got 15 minutes or so to come up with the first really episode to get started. And so yeah, that did move fast. It felt like it was broken up. But I also I'm curious because even though I know quite a bit about English history, this period I know nothing about. So it's interesting to me to sort of see that from that perspective. I mean, I don't know how true it is to actual events, but it was kind of cool to see the Saxons and then the Vikings led by Odin.
Yeah. Thor's going to be so pissed that Odin got killed.
or so didn't you get a Brothers 3 vibe from those three guys, Mike?
Oh God, yes. I thought Thor right away, and it's when the guy climbed up the hill and he had the Viking helmet on and everything.
Yeah,
it was like, yep, definitely, we got Thor coming to fight the Doctor. So it would have been interesting, but it was fun to see Doctor Who do historical, but kept on tying it, and I'm glad they didn't have to keep on going back to the TARDIS. And the Doctor was like, "The TARDIS is going to be fine. Don't worry, it's waterproof, and nothing can get into it."
That was cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
I don't know if that was the first time though that they actually said that, or because that the TARDIS was indestructible. That nothing could get into it.
Yeah, I don't.
Wow. No. So I don't know if I liked Hartnell as like the grandfather lovingly type character. I liked the characterization. I think everyone played well off each other and everything. And this is one of those that had to be restored because it was in really bad shape when they found it.
Yeah, didn't they found it sort of piecemeal.
Yeah.
And you could, I mean, even well, the copy on BritBox wasn't the greatest quality even. I mean, you could see it, but you could see where it was deteriorating.
No, definitely. And it was interesting. There was a scene, they had to cut 12 seconds out of this. The scene where the Saxons had the two Vikings surrounded. The film was so bad shape, they had to cut it out. That, the scene where the Vikings got killed by the villagers, because they showed it. You heard them screaming and everything. So
I saw, it was really surprising to me, and I was kind of disappointed that it didn't pan out. When the Vikings first attacked the Saxon village, I thought Edith was dead, and I was like, "Oh, man, they just killed Edith," but then she got better. And I was like,
she was almost dead, dude. Come on.
Yeah, I'm feeling much better.
I mean, I liked Edith, and I didn't want to see her die, but I felt like that was kind of a cheat when she was like, "Oh, I'm fine. I feel like going out for a walk."
See, episode 2 was the only episode that survived this originally. Episode 1, 3, and 4 were reported missing, but they found them in Nigeria, of all places. And it took them years to restore them, though.
I am so glad they recovered them, because this is such a good story.
Yeah, this really is.
It would have been a real loss not to get it back.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So it was interesting that they, that they had it. But thank goodness in 1992 they found it.
Yay.
So it wasn't missing for all that long.
You never know.
You never know who's, attic they could find Doctor Who episodes in, because there's so many still missing.
Yeah, we're still looking.
Exactly.
But episode 2, is that the episode that Hartnell's not in?
Yeah,
because there's one that's Hartnell's not in.
Yeah, he's not in the second one because it's really funny, because that's when where they go to the cell and they find it, and it pans down and he's gone, and it's like, yeah, he's really gone. Like,
yeah, he's gone.
That's his week of vacation each month,
Well, apparently there was some production problems with this, and he actually faked having a tantrum. So during the making of this, so Hartnell being Hartnell, but
good point.
But it didn't affect the performance. Like in the performance, he's less grumpy than I think I've ever seen him. He seems more excited by the idea of where they are, exploring, finding out where they are, and then once he does find the challenge of proving to Stephen that they're in a time ship, and then kind of getting that proof. And then once he discovers that there's something else going on here, because it's almost like when he hears the monks, that's a recording. Like he knows. I know that's probably putting way too much on this, but it feels like it, because he has to investigate it right away. It's almost like, I recognize that piece of music. Why is that playing here?
Well, I think it was, if I remember correctly, when he was sitting, waiting for the woman to bring him food or something like that. He was listening to he could hear the monks.
Right.
And the monks, it got warped or something.
Oh, yeah. Right.
There's a skip in it.
Yeah, there was a skip in it. And he was like, huh?
Yeah, that's right. There's a skip in it. So he has to be like, hey.
Exactly. He's like, wait a minute. I know monks are punctual, but skipping?
But in true Doctor form, he doesn't have a what face on it. Instead, he has a smile like, I love, like this. There's something going on here. Awesome. I can't wait to investigate it.
He was just kind of waiting for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. Like the Sherlock Holmes, like, Watson, the mystery is afoot,
Yeah,
so it was actually pretty awesome.
It seems like everybody's having a good time here. Everybody's enjoying this story, and you can tell that they're really...
Especially the guy who got hit with the axe, and, like... and the Odin guy, they were all enjoying
Well,
themselves.
Vikings are dropping right and left.
Exactly. Well, they were going to get hit with neutron bombs, so
Yeah, that was a little out of nowhere. I mean, that was, you didn't have to use a neutron bomb. It's a Viking ship. It's not like, an aircraft carrier.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, you would have just they would have been gone. But yeah, it was interesting. I would have loved to seen the monk come back a couple times, like a recurring villain for the Hartnell Doctor.
Yeah, well, he still could come back. I mean,
Not the same. Well, the actor's kind of dead, but that's
okay. If you let me finish, played by a different person.
He can regenerate.
Exactly. That is true.
I know that whenever you see monks or anybody like in monk robe in Doctor Who, especially in New Who, people
is it the Midnight Monk?
The fans are like, "It's the monk, he's returning!" Like it's and I know that Steven and all of them have teased that on occasion because they know that that's something that's out there. It's
that's
very much like
reason he brought back the headless monks.
Yeah, maybe because I mean it's got that, even this one episode, as slight as it might have been, heck, as much as it might have been lost to us almost, it still has an impact because people are still waiting for the return of the monk.
Well, it says a lot about the characterization that it still resonates.
Yeah, that's what Chris should do.
There you go, Chris. We've written your next episode for you.
Well, it's interesting in a lot of surveys that they've done of fans and such, who they ask like what villains that have never come back that they'd want to have come back. The monk and also the celestial toymaker are the two that are requested to come back the most, which is interesting.
I think Graham might be the monk.
It would make sense. Wow.
Just saying.
Yeah, of course. So we're going down even more a sillier path, folks.
All of next season is the Graham arc. It's just
Graham is revealed.
Graham,
and because he's revealed to be the monk.
He's the impossible guy.
Hey, at least he's not the Valyard. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
Okay.
That's how you know the show's over.
Yeah, exactly. So, speaking of that, any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
Don't bring back the Valyard.
Yeah. Oh, God help us. They have in Big Finish multiple times.
Yeah, they have. That's true.
Do we know, because I'm looking here and I don't see anything, because usually, Wikipedia and some of the other stuff we've seen online is pretty good about talking about, other things. And I find it very hard to believe that Big Finish has never brought back or, had the monk in there.
Nope, not at all.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing that the monk is still out there as something that can be used. I can't believe that nobody has actually jumped on that.
We don't even have a monk pop figure.
We'll probably get a Graham one before that.
Oh, you're damn straight. Got Tim, but we get Tim Shaw before we get a monk.
Yeah, what's up with that? I mean, if you had to choose.
Hold. Doing some research while you guys were chatting there. Big Finish has done monk stories, actually.
All right. See, I figured that must have had.
Yeah. The 8th Doctor actually discovers a new incarnation of the monk in the Big Finish Productions audio drama, The Book of Kells, and voiced by Graham Garden. The monk, once again, is pretending to be a human monk.
Started to say Shocker. Graham. I'm like, what?
What?
Voiced by Graham.
I'm like, he is the monk. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. Yeah. Wikipedia somebody needs to enter that into Wikipedia
But it's interesting because he also has a companion who ended up being the Doctor's companion from other Big Finish, Lucy Miller. So it's pretty
the monk
awesome.
Has a companion?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So it's interesting. He also appears in The Resurrection of Mars and which is about a Ice Warrior story, but he is also involved with that one. So it's pretty interesting, and I think he's in a couple other ones also.
Well, he's a great character, so I'm not surprised.
Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that Big Finish did stuff with that. I know the Early Adventures has done stuff with him. He's appeared in also the role-playing game that they did back in 1985. And basically in that one, though, they were saying that the monk was an early incarnation of the master. So.
Well, he is, I mean, just story-wise, he is kind of proto-master-ish. I mean, you can see elements there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Also, in the Doctor Who monthly comic, he appeared, and he went up against the Fifth Doctor.
So the monk gets around.
He does get around. So it's hard to keep a good monk down. What can you say? So, with that being said,
he appears in another Doctor Who episode. The monk appears in the Daleks' Master Plan.
Does he?
Yep. He appears in the yeah. So the TARDIS next arrives on a volcanic planet where the Doctor has a run-in with his old enemy, the meddling monk, who attempts to sabotage the TARDIS in revenge for the Doctor previously stranding him in the 11th century England. Wow. Yeah, so he actually shows up a little bit later, but unfortunately, Dalek's Master Plan is missing most of it, so we'll probably never see it unless it's recovered. But yeah, he does show up again. So yeah, just one more time.
Mm-hmm. See, that's what we knew.
Because I was looking to see what else the actor had done, and it said that he'd played the monk in 2 stories, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, because he's been played 1, 2, 3 different actors in the audio, and then of course Peter Butterworth in television. So,
gotcha.
So pretty cool. So you never know. You can't keep a good monk down. So.
The monk will return.
Exactly. Do 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 do. All right. So let's go ahead and rate this 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. I'm going to let Mikey go first tonight.
I'm going to give this a solid 4. It is, like I said, it is one of my favorite William Hartnell performances as the Doctor. Like, this one shows that he has more of a range and that it has more elements of the Doctor that we are familiar with. Too often I've seen, First Doctor stories where he's just a grumble and not really excited about life in general, really, or dealing with companions or anything like that. It just seems like it's all a nuisance to him. But in this one, he seems very excited about the challenge. The fact that this is the first time he's really ever challenged by facing someone of his intellect in a historical story is just amazing. So that's an amazing first. The companions are not annoying, so that's always a helpful thing. And they're not super awesome, but they're not annoying. So and the storyline, the environment, the Vikings and the Saxons and all that is pretty good to have in the background as a story. So overall, I'm giving it a 4.
Okay, Mary.
I am also going to give this one a 4. It's really enjoyable. It's my second favorite Hartnell story. The Aztecs is my favorite. And also the Doctor's interaction with Edith and with the monk is just, it's such a pleasure to watch. It's Hartnell at his best. And if you're introducing somebody to Hartnell, I would say this is probably a good one to show them, because he's really doing his best here, and I would highly recommend this episode. So yeah, good solid 4.
Okay. Damn it, we're all agreeing again. I hate when that happens, but I'm going to have to give it a solid 4 too. It was enjoyable. It moved really fast. like Mike said, the companions weren't all that annoying, and Hartnell was great, and the chemistry he had with the monk was awesome. And I wish we could see the Dalek master plan, but that's a 12-part story, folks, and there's only 3 episodes available. The other have been
we can't
missing.
Fill in. We'll just imagine the rest of it.
What that would be so ambitious if they went and animated.
Oh wow, that would be a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's it's 9 episodes that they would have to do.
Wow,
and it's just awesome to think about how fast and everything. And it's interesting because how vast it was, and was the longest story till they did the end of time. So not the end of time. What am I saying?
That only seemed like the longest story.
Yeah, no, the last Troughton, the War Games.
War Games, yeah.
And so, but it was just interesting to see, and I would love for us to eventually get to somehow see that.
Yeah,
there's books out there, so
I would much rather see that than I mean, look, they're putting out Trial of a Time Lord on Blu-ray. It's like, really? Can't you spend that money and restore this thing?
Yeah, all the things you could put out on Blu-ray, and that's what you choose.
That's what you choose.
Hell, it could be worse. It could be the Best of Perry or something like that.
Oh, you know what else I forgot to mention about this story?
That would be a really short DVD.
that are 10 minutes that I really liked was
you're ambitious.
The secondary characters, the villagers, they aren't stupid. Like a lot of times, they come across as just, the doctor tells them what to do and they're just too stupid to do anything by themselves. But the monk tries to pull one over on them. He tries to get them to light signal fires with a really lame story. And they do not fall for it.
Not at all.
No, I was actually shocked. It was like, they were like, no, we won't. And it was like, oh, they're smart. And then the one, them not figuring that the doctor was actually working with, the Vikings. Mm-hmm. They were scouts. And it's like, no, they weren't. The old man, I trusted him. So it was it was nice to see. Because I thought it was going to be 2 episodes of that. It's just like, I was like, no confusing identities this time. It's good. That happens at least 100% of the other times on Doctor. So that's going to wrap up the episode for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It was actually a lot of fun talking about, the Time Meddler. It was great for the first time for all of us seeing this one. We definitely want to hear from you. What did you guys think? Please write us at earthstationwho@esonetwork.com. Definitely. Join us again in 2 weeks when we are going to be back, and we're going to the David Tennant era, and we are going to be looking at Midnight. It should be a lot of fun to look at that one. The one that I used to call a one-act play. It could have been, just one on one set and everything. So it would be interesting to see, and, want to thank my co-hosts for everything they do. They are awesome people. Of course, let's thank Mary Ogle.
Thank you so much. This was a great episode to talk about.
Anything you want to promote?
You can find me at maryogo.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts.
Awesome. And Mr. Mike, thank you as always.
And as always, it's my pleasure, especially in this case, because this is exactly why I love doing Earth Station Who podcast, because we get to review really fun stories and talk all about them. And there's still, it gives me hope. Sometimes I'm thinking, man, have we seen all the good ones? I've seen a bunch, but yet I'm like, have I seen all the good ones? Are there really cool ones out there? And yes, there are. At least, this proved that yes, they are. And of course, I just love talking it and sharing it with you guys.
That's awesome. So definitely join us back in 2 weeks, and we will see you next time on Earth Station Who. Peace. And we're done. Boom.
Woo!
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a bi-weekly pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talent from across the universe. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individual and are used for entertainment value alone. You subscribe to our podcast up on iTunes, Stitcher, or follow our blog at www.esopodcast.com. You can also follow us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. If you enjoyed the show, please leave feedback up on iTunes.
Hi, I'm Joe Heath.
And I'm Tony Heath.
And we host the Watchathon Rassalon.
A journey through all of Doctor Who, one serial at a time.
Listen in and you will learn about true facts.
Tune in and hear our
final facts. Find out how little we actually know about science, history,
Doctor Who,
and pretty much anything else.
The Watchathon of Rassalon.
A proud member of the ESO Network.
Available wherever you get your podcast fix.
Keep calm and wrestle on.
Goodbye, and I love you.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.